Welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to another very interesting Spider-Man related video, primarily pertaining to the character's future on the current gaming franchise that we do know and love from none other than Insomniac Games, of course, relating to Spider-Man PS4, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered exclusively for the PlayStation 5, and the latest follow-up to both of those games of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, both on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And if you guys know me, which you hopefully do at this point with these games, I've talked about them several times in numerous videos, up, down, left, right, every way you can possibly imagine, relating to theories, speculations, news, and the future of where the game will most likely go with the inevitable, yet announced, but more than likely, official sequel of the first game with, of course, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But what if I were to tell you that the future of the franchise that it does have with Insomniac's Spider-Man games is mainly going to be enhanced tenfold thanks to the power and the overall capabilities that the PlayStation 5 as a console has in store for not just Insomniac, but all massive AAA developers out there. So, basically, before we dive into the main article we are going to elaborate upon, two things. One, I did do a video a few months ago kind of covering this exact topic, going over the greatest strength that I believe Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will undoubtedly have, and it does cover a little bit of the stuff that we are going to talk about here a little bit more in depth in this article. So if you haven't checked that video out, I will leave it as a link in the description below. But number two, this point is solidified by exactly what is currently happening over at PlayStation's headquarters, mainly of course with the main head honcho over at Sony Interactive Entertainment of Jim Ryan, where I won't really fully break down the news of what is going on with him, but he basically said that he, as the main head of the company, is in fact doubling down of PlayStation trying to have big budget AAA exclusives for only the PlayStation 5. And recently we are going to see that from Insomniac, mainly with, of course, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. There is also a big AAA Sony exclusive game of Returnal that is coming out relatively soon. So we are getting these fully PlayStation 5 exclusive games, as well as Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, which is a remaster of an old game, and Demon's Souls, which is a remake of an older game only on PlayStation 5. But we are still very early on in the PlayStation 5's life cycle, which is why it excites me as a massive gamer at heart and as a fan of all these franchises to see exactly where gaming can become 5+ years down the line once we are in the middle of the PlayStation 5's life cycle, to see exactly what these major exclusives have in store and what the true power of the console can actually do for the realm of gaming in the future. And you already know that Sony is heavily banking on the PlayStation 5 success and seeing how well it's doing amongst general consumers due to the recent report stating that the PlayStation 5 is in fact the fastest selling console in United States history. And specifically, according to market research group MPD, Sony's console is the fastest selling ever in the United States, both in unit and dollar sales, meaning that it's a lifetime sales figure with 5 months on the general market. Whereas the PlayStation 5 currently has sold 4.5 million units across the globe in 2020 alone. Meaning that even though there is a massive supply shortage of the console online, mainly of course in my situation, I still haven't been able to actually acquire the console yet, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate as well. There is a lot of interest and hype garnering around the console for more consumers to go out of their way and purchase the platform, of course, for these super engaging experiences. And just to provide one more clear example of this is that Sony are so completely self-aware of the situation that they find themselves in that they are willingly going out of their way to promote the future of these brand new exciting exclusive games on the PlayStation 5 platform and the abilities that they will be able to do with it going even further into the future by even showing a brief glimpse of Spider-Man within their latest marketing material for the PlayStation 5 console itself, primarily with the DualSense controller. And of course, this obviously does relate to the fact that Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales are fully playable on the PlayStation 5, but seeing how much excitement that platform is gaining from fans and gamers alike to see where the future of the series can go even further, indicates to me that no matter what, whenever the game actually ends up releasing, either in 2022 or 2023, I do fully believe that Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games is going to be a flat-out PlayStation 5 exclusive. And this is where Game Rant's article comes in, which does reaffirm quite a few points that myself and a few of my fellow mutuals on Twitter have been making for quite some time now, fully indicating that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5 has one advantage compared to Miles Morales, which again is a cross-generation game both on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 respectively, stating that no official announcement has been made about Marvel's Spider-Man 2 thus far, which means that it's likely to outshine Miles Morales in one major way. And as it stands right now, the console gaming industry is at a crossroads. Both the Series X and the PlayStation 5 released late in 2020, meaning that 2021 is the first full year of next-gen games. The new generation has begun, but a lot of the most highly anticipated titles are still being released on both last and current-gen consoles. This was true of Miles Morales, where the experience itself on the PlayStation 5 was noticeably enhanced, but it was still available on PlayStation 4. That's not necessarily a bad thing, considering that a PS5 is no small investment and many gamers might not be ready to make the switch. And like I previously mentioned, PlayStation 5 consoles have also been extremely hard to come by since launching in November. So making great new games available to those who can't get their hands on one isn't making a lot of sense during the transition period. Now, the transition itself is a gradual one, and more games are beginning to fully release on PlayStation 5 only, whereas in this case, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Returnal are two rapidly approaching titles that will be PlayStation 5 exclusive. But Miles Morales did need to run on PS4 consoles, which may have prevented Insomniac from taking full advantage of all the PlayStation 5 has to offer. And this is where we begin to dive into the heart of the matter, primarily pertaining to Spider-Man's overall future on the PlayStation 5 console. While a lot of players wish that Spider-Man 2 was closer, being a few years away can only be a good thing. Miles Morales and Rift Apart have given Insomniac a lot of hands-on experience with the PlayStation 5, which will make a huge difference for the sequel's development. It will also mean that Spider-Man 2 should be exclusive for the PlayStation 5 only. And for Insomniac themselves, they have gone on record numerous times showing a lot of enthusiasm for utilizing all of the PS5's features. When Rift Apart was announced last year, it was cited as one of the only games utilizing the PS5's superior hardware in a creative way. And thanks to the console's much faster loading speeds, Rift Apart in turn allows players to seamlessly jump from dimension to dimension without any loading screens. And in summary, every single one of these elements pertaining to the PlayStation 5's future all bodes very well for what Spider-Man 2 has in store. While Miles Morales may have been a little bit held back by its PS4 release, Spider-Man 2 won't be, and Insomniac can take full advantage of the PS5's capabilities. Miles Morales was already an immersive experience that fully improved upon Marvel's Spider-Man in several different areas, but for some players who can't get enough of feeling like they are that masked web-slinger, Spider-Man 2 is one to look forward to. Now, given everything the article had to say, I completely agree with it in every way, shape, and form. And keep in mind, this is the kind of stuff that I've been elaborating upon online, on Twitter, and also in some of my previous videos and live streams, and I also say all of this as a PlayStation 4 Pro owner. I don't have a PlayStation 5 or even an Xbox Series X, no next-gen console whatsoever because they're so hard to come by nowadays, but by the time the sequel actually ends up releasing either what I believe to be either late 2022 or sometime being mid or late 2023 due to the restrictions of the pandemic and developers halting productions for certain games, this is going to be a huge benefit for the game in the long run. We're going into the future of the gaming industry, and that heavily relates to how developers are making games on these newer platforms. And seeing how taking everything into consideration with this article, with what Jim Ryan had to say that they're going to double down on PlayStation 5 exclusives, and that the PlayStation 5 is selling more and more each day with each passing month. It's just that it's hard for people to acquire the console due to supply issues, but that the want and interest for the console is vastly there. And making those big AAA blockbuster exclusives for that platform is exactly what the console needs. We already previously kind of saw that with Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, which again was a remaster of an old game from PlayStation 4 onto a PlayStation 5 edition of the game, but seeing a full-fledged PlayStation 5 only exclusive is what is going to benefit the game the most. It's going to truly add up all these factors to create a truly definitive next-generation experience. And again, for me personally, as someone who has played Miles Morales on only, so far, a PlayStation 4 Pro, I still think the game looks and runs just fine on my current platform. I know it's a way better experience on PS5, but I don't have the need to go out and buy the console as of right now. I want one, but I don't need it to play Miles Morales or Spider-Man PS4. However, if by some miracle that Sony, Marvel, and Insomniac decide to fully announce Marvel Spider-Man 2 tomorrow and say that the game is only going to release on PlayStation 5 and nothing else, then you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to do whatever it takes to fully buy the best possible version of the game with the PlayStation 5 console at launch. That's just how business works, that's just how the market interest relates to the future of these consoles, and by the time that the sequel of Spider-Man 2 is actually announced, hopefully there will be more PlayStation 5s in the general market for people to get their hands on, and just reassuring the developers that more people will be able to fully play these games by the time they're finished developing them. And seeing what that could mean for characters like Venom, and also Black Suit Spider-Man, and just where the story can go next, fully immersing yourself in this game onto next gen and next gen only, instead of knowing that it's a cross-generation game and seeing what the restrictions could be, just fully blasting into the world of Spider-Man on full next-gen capabilities is going to be a dream come true once we actually see the full sequel in fruition. But with all that said, everyone, that's the video that I have for you today. Please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think that making Marvel Spider-Man 2 a PlayStation 5 exclusive game, not a cross-gen game, but only on the PlayStation 5, is a good thing? Do you think that they should wait until more people have the PS5? Do you think it should still be a cross-gen game, since I know a lot of people still don't have a PlayStation 5 just yet? They're still on their PS4s. I think embrace next gen, do what you have to do, make the best possible game only on PS5, and that would just be insane to see exactly what the true power of the console can do, especially for a character like Spider-Man. I can't wait. Again, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But until next time, true believers, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.